Kelly Eckel has discovered new worlds.
As far as inspiration as an artist, it changes all the time. The way I look at art, it's kind of the glasses you put on. So I look at everything as if it's art. Right now, I'm very much inspired by the world I live in and home. I view everything as home. The initial start of The Remnants of War starts with splattering because I was really angry. I kept reading about all these wars everywhere, and then I had to read about history, and hearing the suffering, it became too much. I lost myself. It was like looking at yourself in the mirror, but you no longer have eyes, you're gone. Because it becomes looking at a car crash, you're looking at this violence, but if you're not doing anything, then what's the point? You're just looking at the grotesqueness of it. I started painting and throwing coffee, wine on paper as if they were explosions, and just drawing the explosion because my anger was expressed on the paper that way. It eventually turned into throwing developer on the surface of the paper. Going through The Remnants of War and the Scratch Surface series was necessary. I think I was there too long. It was a little dark for me, and I just needed to get out of that series, because also for the Remnants of War series, I actually I wanted a contact with people that were suffering in war, because I'm here. I'm not in the middle of it, but I want to have empathy for people that are in the middle of war. And touching the surface of the paper with developer is not really healthy, and so I was being physically bad to myself as well as mentally, even though I want to understand, but I don't think that it's positive to be there too long. The Remnants of War, the Scratch Surface series, I've learned through those works. It was my anger and my frustration, which I don't necessarily want the anger and the frustration to always be the only thing out there. I don't want that to be my only voice. What happened is it moved into what voice do I want in the world. Process is so integral, because I wouldn't do this if I didn't love the process, because I'm never going to get paid for the amount of time I put into these. It's about the love of doing the work. When people say, oh, you could do it easier, doing it this way and doing it in the computer, the first initial process of Remnants of War was I cut hundreds of negatives of hands out. It was the process of cutting, and it's reflecting, because when I'm doing the process, I'm also thinking about the process, and I'm putting those negatives on the paper. I'm physically touching. It's the touch and the making that's really important. One of the things that I would like to see with this work is to see that we're a part of the system and not outside of it. Right now, what I'm doing with my Morphogenic series, I do it because I love it. I have a genetic memory series that kind of came out of it. It was very playful. I thought, oh, I'll just play with these little miniature creatures that are in the Book of Hours or illuminated manuscripts. And so I started reading about those, because we always mix creatures together. And I was like, oh, maybe it's some evolutionary understanding of our changes over time, and it's some memory. And as I started reading about evolutionary genetics, instead of feeling distant from it, I felt connected with everything on this planet. So the one thing that I love about it is by looking, it changes who I am. Reading about pollinators, knowing that those weeds that are outside have flowers on them and that the pollinators need them. I no longer pick those flowers because they need them. It's this relationship and questioning what is everything around us for. When I get into reading about genes and how everything has a body and everything that has this part that extends from the body, that all animals that have an extension, it's the same gene. It brings everything together for me. It doesn't separate. And I think when we look at things similarly, we don't want to destroy it. When I tell people that it's my family, I'm looking at insects or these creatures as family, I find beauty in that. The Fragmented series, you don't see things. It's just photos put together and they're changed around. That has to do with not seeing. You don't see what's in the blackness. Nobody knows everything. We're trying to understand. It's getting a sentence and not fully understanding everything. And it's the frustration of not knowing. I don't want to communicate untruths. I get really excited about photographing nature, and photographing under a microscope is just seeing things in new ways, but also seeing the beauty of things I don't normally see, or seeing the relationships I don't normally see. I really just find it so fascinating how a pattern can arise in our genes, and how it can look so similar to something else. If you see yourself in the other, if you see yourself in all the things that are around you, then you want to take care of it as well. Art has changed perception for me, the way I perceive the world. I don't see myself as unique. I'm a part of a system, and that's what I find beauty in. That I have these feelings means there are millions of other people that are having these feelings. I'm just putting them in a visual context, because visual art is my voice.